Okay, this is going to be a quick video to explain the values inventory sheet. Uh, Essentially, it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So we have a list of our 8 core values. All you're going to do in no particular order is fill them in over here in the big blank under value. I filled in a couple examples. And it's pretty simple. Like I said, no particular order, just put them in under values, all 8 of them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come up here to the top. Once you've already done all of that, we're going to come up here to number 1. And you're going to go over here to the next column. You've got responsibility as my number 1. Okay, right next to it, you've got 1 and 2. 1 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Essentially, all you do is look at number 1, responsibility, and number 2, respect. Which one of those 2 values is most important to you? Don't overthink it. Again, don't try to analyze it. Just whichever one feels right as quickly as possible. Just go through the numbers. Number 1, responsibility. Number 2, respect. For me, I'm going to put responsibility as number 1. You can circle it. If you print it off, you can circle it, highlight it, mark it however you want. So I'm going to mark number 1. Responsibility is more important, or I value it higher than respect, so number 1 gets highlighted. So go to the next one. Responsibility versus number 3. Number 3 is open-mindedness. I'm going to, again, put responsibility, number 1. We're going to keep going through it like that. So responsibility, number 1 to number 4 is fairness. Let's go with fairness this time. Responsibility versus independence, number 5. Responsibility. Responsibility versus independence, or I'm sorry, authenticity. We're going to go with authenticity. Responsibility versus, you see how we go, versus excitement. We're going to do responsibility again. And so that's how you compare it. Okay, I'm not, for number 8, we're just going to fill that in. So that's all you're doing under the ranking, is comparing the number that you're on to the other numbers. So responsibility number 1 to number 2, number 1 to number 3, and so on. Again, don't linger, don't take your time, just whatever you feel, go with that, answer that. Okay, and then you move on to number 2. Remember, you've already compared number 1 and number 2, so now you're not going to have that option. Now you're comparing number 2, respect, to, slide down here, respect, to number 3, open-mindedness. And again, this is whatever you've put in there. So number 2 to number 3, and you go through the same process, just comparing one to the other with your intuition, how you feel, just as quickly as possible. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. Whatever feels right is what you're going to go with. Okay. And again, I'm just filling these in now. I think you get the general idea of how to do the comparison number. Here we are on number 3, so number 3 to number 4. I'll go with number 4 is going to rank higher for me. Number 3 to number 5. I'll go with number 5. And again, I'm just going to, I didn't mean to do green. We'll do it that way. Okay. And I'm going to speed this up a little bit just to move us along. You're going to go through the whole list like that, top to bottom, making the comparisons. until eventually you have everything filled out, right? Okay, so now what do? Now we've got to tally it up. You got the total over here on the side. So what do you do with this? Well, we're on number 1. We're going to count. We're starting with number 1. For me, that's responsibility. We're going to count how many number 1s there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let me fix this. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 number 1s. So under total, we're going to put 4. It's pretty simple. Number 2, respect. We're going to go and count all the number 2s. Remember, you got to go back up and double check the one before it too, where we compared it last time. So here, there's 1 number 2. So we're going to put a 1 there. Under number 3, we're going to count all of the number 3s. 1, 2, 3. And go back up and double check the rest of them. There aren't any more there. So we got 3 number 3s. Number 4, 1, 2. We got 1 there. 3, 4, 5. So 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 of those. And you just keep going down the list like that. So number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5. It's okay to have duplicate numbers. 6, we got 1, 2, 3. 3 number 6s. 7, we got 1, 2, 3. 3 7s. And number 8, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 8s. So now that you've done that, where do we go from here? Well, whichever row, whichever number, whichever value has the highest number is the value that you value the most, that you prioritize the most, okay? So all you're gonna do is take a sheet of paper and write it down. Again, write it down in order with the highest to the lowest value score. So for me, my number 6, authenticity, has 6. Then I've got a couple that have 5. So those will be the next 2. Then I've got a 4. So you're just going to write it down in order from the highest score to the lowest score. Okay. And that's the list I want to go over with you guys. So go ahead, do this worksheet, fill it out. Again, go through it as quickly as you can with what feels right to you, what feels best. And once you're done, if everything feels good, make that list, order it, and that's what we're going to talk about when we talk. Okay? I hope that was crystal clear, or as crystal clear as it can. I know it looks confusing, but it's actually pretty simple and straightforward. Okay?